of a sudden, I found myself in love with the world. So there was only one thing that I could do, was ding-a-ding-dang, my dang-along-ling-long.
Actually, I want to get away from enterprise applications right now. Maybe we could.
The exciting world of SAP.
Oh my god! Don't get me started. don't get me started. SAP's everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get away from it, Brian.
That's all I could think of is that you're like, oh, those small projects, or saying yes. It's like, oh, those 1 year SAP projects that take 5.
No,
Then
we
they
have
switch to something else.
We have about 10, at least 10 to 12 clients that are on SAP for everything from all its functions.
Right.
And can't get away from it. It's too costly to get away from it. In many cases, I don't know if you know this, but SAP had suggested I got to do my diligence on my liability here. Years ago, I think they basically said rather than trying to incorporate your business model into our software, you're going to need to change your business model to our software.
Right.
Just to accommodate everything that's in there. And what they were concerned about, obviously, is upgradability, right?
Yeah.
The same thing that was happening with a lot of enterprise applications. But they still have a problem, and SAP's everywhere. Well, and they got into the CRM space, not as well as other people. But anyway, let's get away from that for a little bit. So what do people need to think about? Let's talk about small business. Everything from social media and marketing. And I said at the beginning of the podcast, social media in a consumer format, that it's anti-social. But I am a big believer in being business social. I think it's necessary in this day and age in order to be business social. Let's say there's a better part of 12 platforms, main 4 or 5. You've got your LinkedIn and your Instagram and your Facebook and so on and so forth. What do you suggest that people, small businesses, think about when they're first starting up, as far as social media goes, as far as a website goes, and that websites aren't as simple as they seem? I'm trying to drive you into a corner here, knowing what the answers could potentially be. Meaning, when you build a website, there's a certain methodology that you should probably employ, and certain things, calls for action, for example, that people should really think about. Can you give us your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll try to talk about some of these topics a little bit. So typically, I still think of, even though we've got lots of social media and Facebook and all that stuff, the website is still kind of the cornerstone of your digital strategy. And so that's a place where you can...
Can we call it a hub?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, you got to have one hub.
That'll be the hub, and then you might have some spokes off that. So with that, you're going to have information about your business, you're going to have your blog, and you're going to have opportunities for people to contact you or do what you want, your conversion point, your call to action. But so if a small business is starting a website, they're going to have to first think about who their target audience is, and then kind of write their content around that.
Can we go? You talking about the? Let's differentiate, because there's different kinds of content. There's static content, which is essentially what doesn't change on your website. This is what we do, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, so that'd be like your services, your products, your about page.
And I think it's important to point out to people that the number of words that you put in there should be minimal, given the attention span of the average. I mean, this is all statistically documented, right?
Yeah, so kind of how we think about that is that it should be broken up in ways that it can be easily consumable because of what you mentioned, that attention span thing. So you might have a large header that's easy to read that summarizes, specifically what you do, and then you might have a paragraph after that that goes into a little more detail that someone could kind of skip over and then read the next paragraph or the next bullets. And you're typically, you're writing for that ultimate consumer or prospect that you want. But if you're being strategic about it, you're also thinking a little bit about search engines and wanting to know that, if somebody searches for your product or service, that you're going to have a chance to show up in Google with it. So that hub is the website. With that, you're going to have, your content for products, services about. The next thing you would do if you've got, time and effort is to start working on generating some content. So thinking about what questions your customers or your audience might be asking or wondering about and starting to educate them. So even if you use just the simple strategy of, hey, here's what I do as my static pieces, and here's what I can teach you about my industry, about how we operate, about how we work, and you can put out that content in, say, a blog post form. And then what you can do from there, your additional spokes might be using social media to get that information out. So if you're writing some blog posts, you then might start to use Twitter to connect with people in your industry, people in your area. You might start, putting those blog posts out there. You might start using YouTube and making some videos and putting some of those videos in your blog post and putting those out there. And then kind of just starting to work different social media channels depending on kind of what you're looking to do or what's best for your business.
Well, let's go back to the blogging and vlogging with V.
Yeah.
Because I don't pronounce it very well. The importance of that.
Yeah.
Because this isn't your 2003 type of blog. Right? So blogging is evolved in and of itself. Blogging in 2003 is a lot different than blogging in 2007 to 18. Excuse me, I'm old. I forget what year it is now. And there's certain ways to go about doing that with categorizations, tags, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
That and those things help in picking up SEO optimization, search engine optimization, so it can get picked up by Google and Bing and so on and so forth, primarily Google.
Yep.
Can you talk about what a good blog post would look like for let's do a hypothetical company. Let's go back to the restaurant, right? Even though they're going to go under either way,
Right. Yeah. So if you were doing something around a restaurant, you might say, okay, if someone was looking for, Chinese food in this area, what kind of questions might they have? So it might be like, most authentic Chinese food in Royal Oak. And you could start to tailor content or do blog posts about that, or talk about some of your dishes and how it was, originally from your great grandmother and that kind of stuff, and put some of those details out there. And that's going to potentially help somebody in search if they're looking for, Szechuan chicken or whatever it might be, or the best restaurant, Chinese restaurant in Royal Oak. Or if people out there on the internet are looking, even if you started sharing some of the behind the scenes of how you prepare your food or you do those things and put that out there, that's going to help you build more of an audience. And those people are going to then share it out there, which kind of builds your total, credibility with Google.
and it's important to put the right tags and categories in there.
Yep, it's all about making sure you've got a good title and that you're using kind of some of the terms that you're expecting people to search in your content.
What about backlinking?
Yeah,
within a blog post, backlinking.
So if you've got a blog post that you've done, you might cross-link to some of your other blog posts to kind of give them a little bit of link juice. But the concept of backlinking, or that specific term, is usually when thinking of trying to get maybe some other bloggers to link to your blog post.
Correct.
Yep. So what you would do after you've got that blog post written is you might reach out to a couple other maybe foodie blogs or something like that that talk about some different things, and see if there's any way that you guys could maybe collaborate on a post, or you could do a guest post about a specific thing, or maybe maybe you could suggest a Chinese dish that they do and how they would implement that and kind of collaborate with that, and maybe get a link back to your blog post. So kind of working that strategy.
Right, and the reasoning being is because backlinking, the way that Google algorithms hypothetically work, because nobody has the formula, obviously, it's proprietary.
Yeah, I think before it was Google, it was called Backrub, which was kind of like a play on that backlink thing. So it's like the number one factor is quality backlinks, and kind of
Backrub.
Google giving weight on it.
I
Yeah.
want to get a back rub from Google. Maybe some Google people should show up at the house and give me a back rub.
Right.
No extras involved.
Harassment.
Yeah. Again, we're 3 feet apart. We got to be careful.
Right. And now we're drinking beer. So
Yeah, now we're drinking beer, so you're a little bit more loose. I'm not drinking beer. I got lemonade with beer in it.
nice move.
Do they really call it a back rub?
Yeah. I think that's what the original name was. That was probably prior to them trying to sell their technology. Yahoo and Yahoo laughing at them and not buying them, and then trying to buy them for like $1 billion a year later.
Yeah,
And
where's
Google saying no.
Yahoo now?
Right.
Good job,
man.
Marissa Mayer.
There's like,
Boy, did she walk away with a few bucks.
I know. It's me personally, there's not like a single Yahoo service that could disappear and I would care about, and never has. I've never been a Yahoo Mail user. I've just never used Yahoo services.
Not even back in the day.
Nothing.
I use one Yahoo service still, Yahoo Sports.
Okay, so
They have a good mobile app.
I'm not much of a sports guy, but we do a office bracket every year, and I think it is with Yahoo. So I've got a Yahoo account just to do that, and I made a Flickr account. I don't really use it, but that's probably the only other property they own that is of any interest.
That's another
Just
tragedy.
sad.
You know,
Just
a few
sad.
podcasts ago, we did about discussions about technologies that have failed. We were talking about the Palm Pilot and the Zune, and Yahoo just, boy, did they tank.
Yeah, they just seem to anything that they buy at the Apple, like the absolute apex, and then it just goes to nothing. You know, it's like I feel like Tumblr's still out there and people are probably using it, but you don't hear anything about it much anymore.
Yeah, they when they bought Tumblr, it was a good idea to buy Tumblr, and they said they were going to leave it alone because there's all kinds of nonsense on there, and the user community wanted to make sure that didn't go away. But that's another. We didn't go over that failed technology, did we?
No.
That's unfortunate. Well, I mean, they're still not failed. They're still out there, but it takes somebody, who really they need like an Adela,
Yeah.
the guy, the CEO of Microsoft. They need somebody who's really forward thinking, to even potentially have that come back. Anyway, so that's blogging,
Yeah,
and
and then
you got the social media components. And which do you think are the most valuable today to employ? Instagram is obviously a hot one. LinkedIn for businesses. This is again for businesses, not for personal.
yeah, I guess I'll kind of curious your experience with LinkedIn and how you can you kind of think of a scenario where you can pinpoint that, hey, this has helped my business because I'm on LinkedIn, or you've got a lead or a sale or hired someone. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've also got 12,000 plus followers, but I mean, many of which are executives and technologists and so on and so forth.
So do you regularly use LinkedIn to kind of use the messaging and like communicate with people and talk to them about stuff?
We post about once a week.
Okay.
We don't overuse it, and generally when we post, somewhere between a third and a fourth of that community will take a look at that, which provides for conversation. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't, given the business that we're in, which is, the deals are much larger. They don't just come say, okay, come do this. But it does inspire conversation about here's what Quantum does, or here's what Van Staten Associates, here's what Sugar Skull Software does, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I've always been kind of lukewarm on LinkedIn. It seems like it's just all headhunters and.
Well, no,
but
you can cut them out. You can cut out recruiters. You can.
Is it like just a click of a button now? Like.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
So they can't see you.
I didn't get on that.
Yeah. So with LinkedIn, if you gain it's the same thing as like with your blogs, basically. I mean, if you put out good content, interesting content, content that's useful to people. And sometimes that formula is difficult. It's difficult. Like on Instagram, our companies will post things that are you think are going to be hot and they're not, and post things that you don't think are going to be spectacular, and they end up being get the most impressions. And
Yeah, I mean, in
clicks.
technology, we don't have a lot of cats, dogs, and booties.
Yeah,
And those are usually going to win out on Instagram.
true. No, that's absolutely true.
Like, it's,
The same kind of goes for LinkedIn, by the way.
yeah.
On the latter of what you said. So, but we don't post this stuff because LinkedIn's a professional network. Instagram, not so much. But
Right.
Facebook, we don't do too much in there because all the nonsense going on in Facebook and too expensive, and I mean it's too expensive to buy ads and all that kind of stuff. There's much better ways of marketing your company than buying ads through LinkedIn. And, it depends on which business you're in.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Yeah, that's been one thing.
If you're a local pet sitter, right, Facebook's the way to go, right? But
Yeah.
not for companies like ours that do business internationally, and
Yep.
I'd have to buy ads everywhere.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you on that. Yeah, it's sad what, in general, how Twitter, Facebook, everything is kind of like, I love to consume my stuff just chronologically. Like, I don't really care what Facebook thinks is a higher priority, and I don't want to see something in my top post that was from 3 days ago. It's like every time I open my Facebook app, I switch it to most recent. It's just like I just want to see what's happened the last couple days.
Mhm.
But they've adjusted, they adjusted all that stuff, and then they adjusted it so even when businesses post out, not everyone sees it because it's not chronological anymore. So you pretty much have to boost everything or buy ads, and it's a racket.
Yeah, we're in a different business where requests for proposals, requests for quotes, and all that is really more.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I'm thinking when I'm saying this more about Facebook too is we help our customers put ads and stuff, not necessarily for
Right.
WebAssembler directly, but when we're doing ads and stuff for them, they can't get along just doing their business page and posting out there and connect with people that way. They pretty much have to boost posts and pay for ads and stuff.